we start the trick, I just need the top card of the deck here, which is going to be a helper card. We're going to set it off to the side on top of the deck for now, but we're going to get back to it in just a little bit. So for this trick, I need 2 spectators to select a card each. So let's say they select those 2 cards over there. It really doesn't matter what these 2 cards are. So let's go ahead and take a look at what these 2 cards are here. So we have the 4 of spades and the 3 of hearts. So these 2 cards, 4 of spades, 3 of hearts, they're both going to get lost there in the center of the pack, just like this somewhere. And now if the spectator can go ahead and riffle shuffle the deck, I would invite them to do so. They can go ahead and shuffle the deck just like this, and we can push them all together. I can just spread the cards out here and show the spectator that yes, the cards are really getting riffle shuffled together, and everything is completely random and mixed up. So we can get back to that helper card over here. So I'm actually going to invite the spectator to go ahead and just insert this card anywhere they want to, preferably towards the middle of the deck though. I'll explain why in just a minute. But let's say they place it right about there. I can actually go ahead and show you what this card is. It doesn't really matter what the card is. It's actually just a joker here. What matters is where you place the card. And you can see you placed it right here, exactly there. Now, jokers can actually be considered wild cards, which means they can have any value in the entire deck, ranging from ace to king. So if you could give this joker any value, what value would you give it? Let's say they say 8, for example. And I say, very interesting. Look, if I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards in this direction, we land on this card. And if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards the other direction, we land on that card over there. So you can see you place the joker anywhere, and we landed on these 2 random cards from your freely chosen value. Now, I asked the first spectator, what was the card that you had selected? I believe it was the 3 of hearts, and it was the 3 of hearts. And the other spectator, was it this card, the 4 of spades? I believe it was. And that is the trick, guys. So now for the tutorial. Alright guys, so here's the tutorial for the trick that you just saw. So for this trick, you're going to need just a joker from your deck, and it can be, you know, any deck. So just get out the joker and just basically place it on top of the deck. That's the only setup that you need. You can actually start with the joker inside of the box as well. It doesn't really matter. But also, one more little setup that I did, it was just for this performance, but what I did was I took the bottom 2 cards and I actually turned them over face up just like this. And this was just for the little control that I did. I had also obtained a break right on top of those 2 cards, so also just keep that in mind. This is for the control that I did in the performance. So what I did was I had them select any 2 cards here, just like this, and then what I did was I was holding my break, so I actually transferred it to a thumb break here. I cut the cards into my other hand, just about half the cards like this, and then I dropped those 2 thumb break cards on top of this half, and I did a wrist kill. So I just turned my wrist over, and now those 2 cards are face up on top. And what I did was I just used my thumb and fingers here to just scoop up the 2 selections, and then I can turn my wrist over, and then I can place all the cards back on top. And now I actually have 4 cards here face up on top of the deck. So then what I did was I just did a little pinky count to count 4 cards, just like this. And then I pushed off the top card here, and I showed 9 of hearts, 3 of clubs, and then I just grabbed all the cards from underneath here, and I just flipped all of them over, and I just placed those 2 cards in the middle of the deck, just like this. And then when you push them in, those 2 selections are now controlled to the top, because you just pushed in the 2 random indifferent cards. So you can control the 2 selections any way you want, but I just thought that was a really cool way. So once the 2 selections are controlled on top, I just do this really cool little subtlety where I have the spectator riffle shuffle the cards. Now the spectator really can riffle shuffle these cards, and what you're hoping for is that you're hoping that the spectator just shuffles the top 2 cards and that they remain on top. If they don't remain on top, it's okay, because you can do this little secret move. So let's say they actually get kind of buried in the middle there. So let's say those top 2 cards are in the middle of the deck now. What I can do is I can just grab the top few cards here, just the top few cards from both sides, and I kind of pull them apart, so actually unshuffling the cards, and I'm just replacing those cards now back on top. So I'm actually just moving the 2 selections now to the top of the deck, and I kind of do that as misdirection when I spread out those cards. This is the misdirection. When you spread out those cards now, when the spectator sees all these cards, they're not going to notice that you just moved the top few cards, because all their focus is on over here on the middle of the deck. So you're just going to square up those cards, and now it looks like the spectator shuffled the cards freely, but those two selections are still on top of the deck. So at this point, you're going to introduce the helper card, but you're not going to flip it over quite yet, because that is a move that you're going to have to do later. So first, you're going to get a break on the top card here, a thumb break on the top card, and then you're going to double undercut that card to the bottom of the deck. So that would be the 3 of clubs there. The other selection is the 9 of hearts. That one is still on top of the deck. So now you're going to ask the spectator to take the helper card and insert it anywhere into the middle of the deck that they want to face down. So just make sure they don't place the card too high or too low in the deck, or else it won't look as good. I guess you could say that. So just make sure they place it somewhere towards, like, you know, between 23 to 30 card range. Like that will look okay. So let's say they place it right there. What you're gonna do is you're gonna spread through the cards and you're gonna say, so I didn't really show you what this card was. And you're gonna stop at this card. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of square up the cards in your right hand. And you're gonna flip your entire wrist over to pick up this card, essentially. So you're gonna pick this card up here, and then you're gonna flip it over, showing the Joker. So you're just gonna use your thumb here on your right hand. This thumb right here is gonna pick up that card and flip it over. Just flip your wrist back over and show the Joker. Then you're gonna take the cards from your left hand and put them on top of the Joker. So take all these cards and put them on top, and then you're gonna square up all the cards and then spread out everything, just like this. And what you've just done is you've actually cut the cards. So it sounds kind of weird, but what you've done here, I'll show you if I can get the Joker more in the middle of the camera. See, what you've done is you've actually taken the two selections that were on the top and the bottom. When you cut the cards, those two cards are actually now right here. The 3 of clubs and the 9 of hearts are now right above and right below the Joker. Now you could end the trick right here if you wanted to. If you don't have to necessarily do the ending, you could just say, now you place the Joker right here, right next to these two cards, the two selections, and you could just end it right there, because that already is impossible. But I like to add the element of the wild card, because it just adds another element of just absolute craziness into it. So I have them name any number that they want to that can apply to the Joker. So they can name literally any number between like 1 and 13, and you kind of want them to name a higher number because it will just look better, because the cards will be more spread out and it will be a little bit easier to do. So let's say they name sort of a higher number, 10 for example. So first you're going to count 10 cards below. So you're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards. We land on this card. And then the other direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we land on this card over here. So now you're just going to take the cards, you're just going to basically split them right where the Joker is, and then just make 2 piles. Now you're in this position over here. The Joker's in the middle of the table. You actually have one of the selections here on top of the left pile over here, and the other selection is on the bottom of the right pile. And these 2 cards that you've outjogged are random cards. You're going to be switching them out for the real selections in the end. And you do that with some nice little misdirection and sleight of hand. So first you're going to pick up the right-handed pile here, or the pile to your right, and you're going to turn it towards you. Just make sure you don't want to flash this card. So just kind of flip it over towards you and just make sure not to show or expose what this card is. So you're going to hold it towards you like this. And then what you're going to do is you're actually going to be using your thumb here to take out the 3 of clubs. You're going to be pushing in this card and then taking out the 3 at the same time. And you're just going to do it very fast. And do it as you ask the spectator what the card was. So you're going to say, so what was the card that you selected? Now that was very slow, obviously. It would look something like this. So you would say, so what was the card that you selected? It was the 3 of clubs. Boom. And there's the 3. So you did a little switch there. And now for this one, it's almost the same thing, but you don't have to actually flip over the pile anymore. So you can just leave it here, because all you have to do is switch out this card. So you're going to say, and what was the card that you selected? 9 of hearts. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to push this card in as you turn your wrist, and then you're going to peel off the top card with your thumb, and it looks like it's the same card. And at full speed, it should look something like this. You're going to go, so what was your card? It was the 9 of hearts. And there it is, the 9 of hearts. And that is really the entire trick, guys. So there are many variations to this. Obviously, you guys can really make up whatever version of this you want. So yeah, guys, that's the entire trick. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. Keep practicing it and go perform it to your friends and family. I'm sure they will totally enjoy this trick. So go out, have fun, and see you guys for my next video. Bye.